That'll be on then.
Well, what a day. You join us on the beautiful River Wye, just below Hereford. I'm with my good mate Dave. We've got 3 awesome products to review, and you have just nailed a big river fish on the jam roll. What is it, Dave?
I think it's probably a chub, Tom, but it's good fun on the pole.
Oh, look at that. Eh?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Can you pass me that land?
I might even net it. I'm going to refeed for you, pal, and then I'm going to net it you.
Okay.
And while we're scooping this one up, we'll tell the lovely people what we're doing here today and what we're testing.
Well, I mean, firstly, I must say, once again, we are on the River Wye, Tom, which is...
I feel no shame.
Well, I have to say, I feel like everybody will think this is my instigation, but it's not. Look at that.
That is a gorgeous fish. Lean, mean, pellet eating machine, pal.
And yeah, so we're on the River Wye again, and it's not my doing, it was yours, because in all fairness, the products we've got to test today are actually quite suited for this venue. It's lovely. I think we'll catch some more of them, won't we? Yeah, so we're fishing on. You're actually very privileged, Tom. You are fishing today on one of Angling Escapade's premier stretches.
Am I?
Do you know what? This is an experience that only money can buy.
Really?
Yeah. So we're down below Hereford, and we've got some real, like this time of year now, it's getting warmer. We've got oxygenated water, so we can catch chub and barbel here. And my thought was we've got a Colmic margin pole to test, we've got a Seatbox to test, and we've got a power float rod to test. And
3 great products.
And I think all of them will be suited to this sort of fishing. So what we decided to do is we'd start on the pole.
And that's the Colmic Superba 10-metre pole. Now that is built as a pole that's great for power work, i.e. margin fishing, that sort of thing, but also has the finesse and the action to make it good for fishing to hand on venues like this in winter, I'm guessing, or any of the sort of bagging venues in Ireland, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it's sort of one of those poles that's going to be versatile enough to do multiple things, and it's well, I say we're giving it a bit of a, let's be fair, we're indulging here, aren't we? We're playing around fishing flat floats with pellets for chub and maybe, you never know, an odd barbel. But well, listen, this is as good a test. We've got a 15-gram flat float on there. Yeah, and it's going to be as good as tested anything for it, isn't it?
It absolutely is. Now this,
the bottom there.
So that's the margin pole covered, or the power pole as we're going to call it. The Seatbox. Now that's something a little bit special. MAP's H36 Seatbox. Now this is described as being a light box, and I can confirm, having assembled it this morning and settled it in the river, it is very light.
Can I just say as well, Tom, you might notice, the viewers might notice, I've managed to keep my trainers on, I've not had to get wet, so I completely left you in charge of setting this up. And I'll be honest, I planned the whole day not to have to put any waders on or anything. I can get on and off the box without getting my feet wet.
Well, I had a few requests from female viewers, and I have actually got the shorts on today and the waterproof shoes. So, you know, ladies, if you're watching, just give us a like. I know you asked for these last episode, and you know, we always listen to what you people are after.
Are you wearing those legs for a bet?
So, yes, the H36 Seatbox went together very easily. Comfortable, Dave?
Yeah, it is. It's I've seen boxes of similar shape on the market, and you know, sort of similar makeup. There's a definite sort of direction here with boxes where they seem to be going. You know, we've been used to like the big reef style boxes, or yes, you know, 36mm legs, you know, which this has got, but I'll come on to that in a minute. But you know, this is more of a lightweight option. It's got a foot plate. I believe the foot plate's removable. It is. So it gives you that option, which is something that I like on the rivers when you're fishing on these uneven banks. Sometimes it's easy to get forelegs level. You know, on muddy banks you don't necessarily have to have a foot plate. You know, a lot of time you're not long pole fishing, so it's nice to have that option. Lighter weight box, more usable. But still very stable, and so yeah, it's definitely a different style.
It is, and the final product, of course, which we've not got in shot at the moment, but that's coming later, is the Cadence 14-foot number 3 power float rod.
Yeah, no, that rod. If ever a rod was designed for the sort of fishing we're going to do today, it's that rod, I think. So I'll be interested to see if we can firstly catch some fish on it and put it through its paces, and then see how it handles some of these rather large and active River Wye chub and maybe barbel.
Absolutely. So Dave, the Colmic Superba 10.5 metre pole, supplied with 2 spare top kits. They do have number 1s in, so you can make them like a whip if you want, sort of a flick tip type action. Quite a powerful flick tip though, it must be said, with the number 1. Or you can take them back and elasticate them like we've done today. 350 quid that sells for. What do you think of it?
Okay, so I think, bearing in mind what, you know, how it's marketed, that it could be used for multi-purpose, I think, yeah, it's definitely light enough to be used as a whip. You know, I'd say at 10 metres is pushing it, but like 8 and 9 metres, you know, which is a lot, the distances we fish on this river, you know, that's quite 7-6 metres, so absolutely, you know, it would do that, and it seems very responsive. When you're fishing flat floats like this, and you know, you notice the pole, you know, because you're striking hard, and you notice that if as you strike, if the tip gets left behind almost, you know, there's that sort of sag. And I'm not seeing that, it's quite responsive.
Well, we've not messed about, we've got I think it's a 16 elastic in that Duraslip, isn't it?
I mean, just so people understand the setup we're using, we've got a 15 gram Crusoe Ray float on, which is a big float, you know what I mean, that takes some control in. We're fishing proper gear, 021 to an 019 hook length and a size 12 animal hook. You know, we're fishing this as if, you know, that's the sort of gear you'd be using if you're margin fishing. So we're giving it some, and we're just, well, I say this is putting it a test of its strength, but also its performance.
Yes.
You know, it would be easy to go and sit on a commercial with it and just, you know, empty it with carp, but you don't see any performance then. Whereas with this, we're actually getting to see how it's.
Absolutely. And the thing, the difference is, of course, when you are on a commercial, you're very often just laying it on the bank or across your knee, aren't you, when you're edge fishing? With this, you're having to fish with that pole, hold it, work it down the peg, lift it out, and repeat. You've been doing that probably for half an hour now.
I've got it one arm here, like, on one arm across my knee. And it's quite comfortable.
Yeah. So,
I think I'm a bit nervous really with Tom, because the last time we reviewed a Colmic pole, I went and bought it.
You did actually, yeah, it's true that. Last time, that was the top of the range one, the Nucleaire, wasn't it? 16 metre.
Yeah.
And you ended up buying one.
Yeah, so I've told myself I'm not buying this one today. No matter how good it is. No, but it's yeah, no, I like it, to be honest as well. This is like a little bit gimmicky fishing, you know what I mean? We don't normally fish like this, but it's nice to come and do something different. But I think it like I say, it sort of does the job, doesn't it? It's what we, you know, it's how we want to test products.
Absolutely.
Oh, I thought that was one there.
I thought I was going to nod its head then, didn't you?
Yeah, a lot of rocks and nasty things like that out there.
There is.
I've still got a pellet on there. No, it's getting bait's come off. Tom.
Oh no, you can't even you can't catch with no bait, Tom.
Yeah, so we're not like, obviously for fishing 10 metres, we haven't even got a roller behind us because we've got high bank, so it's not, there's no sort of, I don't think there's much performance to look at in that aspect, but certainly you can feel the strength on these sections.
Well, that's the main thing, you know. The thing I noticed straight away, reinforced areas, obviously you've got a little band there where you can put a puller kit if you wanted. That'll give you about sort of 7 foot, 6-7 foot of elastic in, which is nice. The took a 3.8mm bush straight into it, so that's the same as the Daiwa kits take with the number ones out. As I said, reinforced areas around all the joints, I like that very much. Yeah, it looks a classy piece of kit. It looks like you're getting, you know, more than 350 quid's worth, to be fair, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is quite a, like I say, because I know because I've got one, but this, if you remember the other pole we reviewed, this is what they do now, you know what I mean? They make things look nice, and there's lots of little technical specs on it which are they actually do something, you know, those reinforced sections,
yeah,
you know, they do keep it, you feel like you're always fishing with something that's strong enough, you know, that's not going to let you down.
Yes, I think the thing is now as well, I mean, I know you're a man of immense wealth, so this won't apply to you, Dave, but a lot of people are feeling the pinch, I think. You know, my friends in the tackle, oh, that was nice. That was a fast bite, wasn't it? That was a fish, wasn't it?
How did we miss that, Tom? How did we miss that?
If I'd have been on the box, I wouldn't have missed that.
Well, you can have a go in a minute. Once again, I feel like I'm hogging it, but this is just what we do now.
It's what you do every day, this.
The trouble is,
this
Tom,
is work to you, isn't it?
Well, it's work with you.
No, you know, people are feeling the pinch. It's an expensive time, isn't it? Where the cost of living's going up, and I hate to say it, you know, but my friends in the trade tell me that trade's down. People are feeling the pinch, and the few quid that they would have had to spend on fishing tackle is now going on other things. Something like this that you can multi-purpose, that'll do you as a margin pole and or a power pole, but you could also use it for fishing to hand. Comes with enough top kits to allow you to do both as well. It's quite an appeal, isn't it?
Yeah, I think if you're an angler who fishes a variety of venues, so you not just commercials, but you go to commercials and then you go to rivers, you know, where you can catch on whip and things like that. I think 350 quid is a serious consideration for something that does both jobs.
You know, I'll be honest. I mean, I took this on the river, Don, to try it full length fishing, pole to hand sort of whip fishing, you know. And it was fit for purpose for that. It was the action was nice. It was a little bit heavy, to be fair, at the full length, as you said.
Let's be straight. You know, if you're going to do a lot of whip fishing, you'd go and buy a specialist whip.
I was just going to say, it's a multi-purpose tool, isn't it? This.
It's just giving you the options of doing both. And you know, it's the other thing. I was going back to like performance and that. When you're fishing this way, you know, with big flat floats and, you know, sort of trying to hold bait still, you know, when you get a bite, it's just a natural reaction. You whack into the bites, and that's where a lot of poles, even top end poles, are broken. They get broken on the strike. So this sort of having this sort of tool in the bag for this sort of fishing, because I don't think this will break on the strike.
No, I don't. It's definitely strong enough for the job, isn't it? Oh, see that one top there? Only a small fish, but
I think we'll,
and a little roll, isn't it?
I think we'll catch some, Tom. I think we've had.
You reckon? You're happy, aren't you? Now?
Yeah.
You're settled, aren't you?
I think they're coming.
Are they on the way?
They're coming, Tom. Yeah. We'll catch some. I think your feeding's a bit shoddy, to be honest. You're nowhere near me line. I'm just going to take over and just.
Dave, you've just fed 8 metres past the float, and if it hadn't escaped your attention, you come closer as you run down the peg. So my feeding has been fantastic, actually.
Okay, Tom. All right. Well, the result.
That is in the line of where you'll be in about a minute. That.
In about a minute. I wonder where I am now. That's what I'm Yeah. So interesting. This. I couldn't believe we got to do this today, Tom. I was thinking you were going to drag me somewhere else, and I don't know.
Well, it's just.
I mean, we do go to some nice places, don't we? But I do.
Well, where did we go last month? It was lovely, wasn't it?
We've been to Larford, haven't we?
Larford, yeah, great.
The main thing is what we want, right? No matter what we're testing, we want something that pulls back, don't we, Tom?
And we've just had a bit of a chub.
I think we'll have another one in a minute.
Come on, they're coming, aren't they? They're coming.
Yeah, Tom.
Oh yeah, Dave.
No, that one a bite, Tom. I let it run a little bit faster and it popped under.
Did you?
I did. It'd be nice to catch a barbel on it. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Do you think we've a chance of a barbel on the float as well later?
Listen, there's this barbel here. This is one of our prime stretches, but we'll.
That looked like a fit. Oh no.
We'll see. We just got to keep feeding and see what comes on. I think the chub are going to be the main customers today. Yes.
So let me ask you a little bit more. I know you don't want to give too much. That was bad feeding. I'll give you that one. That was terrible. Let me ask you a few questions about this stretch, because as you say, you know, it's one of your waters that you use for your guesting. What sort of fish have you caught out of here? Talk to me in sizes. Barbel. What's the biggest barbel you've had out of here?
So we catch double figure barbel here. Not lots, but that's the Wye all over. You know, it's not full of double figure barbel, despite what some people think. But yeah, we caught one last. We caught our first one of the season last week. Actually, it was £10.4, I think it was. So we catch barbel to double figures. The chub fishing is immense.
Yeah.
As I hope we'll find out today. Big shoals of chub here, summer and winter. But you've got that thing here where we have on the Wye, whereas we're sort of sat on gravel gravel and stone. You know, it's not. There's no silt or anything up here, which is just great for the summer fishing because fish come to this area to spawn. You know, and then they stick around for the summer and the warmer months. You know, now when the levels are down a little bit and the temperatures are up, they're quite happy to live here. And then as it cools down, they'll spread out a bit further. And then when you come to the real cold weather, you don't get bites here. You know, they just don't like. The only thing you'll catch up here when it's cold is like your grayling and trout and game fish. You know what I mean? And it's sort of they move out, but there is water lower down that we fish that's where there's some silt, and you'll catch the barbel there in the winter. So it's got kind of got a mixture, and that's what this river's like. It just, you know, the fish move around. You catch them in different areas in the summer to the winter. And it's all about where they want to be at any particular time of year. But we catch, you know, now I say we're fishing very positive today. We're fishing with pellets, just pellets. Now we've got other baits, we've got meat and hemp and different things we might try if we don't get the response on this. But if you put maggots on, generally you just get pestered by, and I say pestered in inverted commas, by dace
pound chub.
Yeah, it is. You've got to be careful what you say, haven't you? But that's the reality is your float won't sit still because it's full of them. But as soon as we get some cold weather, they'll disappear. They'll be the ones that are in Hereford Town later on.
I was going to ask that. Do these migrate?
I mean, that's the theory. Whether it's, I can't see where else they go because it's, you know,
they come from somewhere, all them fish, don't they?
Yeah, and I mean we are a fairly long way from the town centre, but you know, I suppose in fish terms perhaps not. But yeah, I think it's they certainly disappear from here anyway. They don't like living on gravel in the winter months.
Cold on the bums, isn't it? That's what it is.
That's probably what it is, Tom. Shallower water as well, isn't that supposed to be cooler? But anyway, either way, it changes from month to month, and this is you know, we've got fish that have all, you know, they've done their spawning for the year, they're settling down, and you know, the next few weeks or so they'll be starting to feed properly, ready, you know, getting their winter weight on or their autumn weight on, and
yes.
So it's usually a good time to be on the river, especially for the chub. They seem to really get
places like this. There can't be a bad time to be on the river.
Oh mate, you could just lose yourself for days here, couldn't you? Oh, that's a bite.
Nice. That's got some power, this, hasn't it? Not fighting much, so it's moving upstream like a big bloody dead weight, that.
It'll fight when you get it down. There's chub in it, yeah.
Chub, you think? Feels like a bream.
It's obviously a bit lacking in energy, Tom.
Like yourself, Dave. It might be an old chub.
Careful. You just know how to tame them, don't you, Tom?
Could be a right big dog, that, you know. And that'll probably try and do me on the inside.
No, it's not as big as you think, Tom.
Pull him back well.
Nice though, isn't it?
Come on. Come on.
I'll land it for you, Tom.
Go on, pal. Play dad, play dad. Look at that.
It's much smaller than the one I had.
That's my first wide chub of the year, you know.
And it won't be the last, Tom.
Let's hope not.
There you go, sir.
Look at him. What a great fish. So, although the pole has been an absolute joy to use, I get the impression, mate, that we're not quite getting the full potential out of this peg on the pole. What do you think?
I think we went very gung-ho, and which, you know, at the end of the day, you've got to try, and God loves a tryer.
God loves a tryer.
But yeah, I think we might catch better on the float, if I'm honest. It's not been as hectic as I'd hoped, but we've tested the pole.
We've tested the pole. There's a couple of lovely fish, haven't we?
And we've had a bit of flat float workout, haven't we?
Absolutely.
Which will only stand us in good stead. Well, Tom, it's come to that part of the show where I like to ask you a question, or you like to ask me a question. Now, unfortunately, I've got a bit of a confession to make. I've lost the Elvis bag.
No.
So we've had to go back to
straight out of Yorkshire. Well,
straight out of Yorkshire.
Isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, I will find the Elvis bag.
Was that a barbel jumping out of the river?
It was a barbel or a salmon. Something splashed, didn't it?
It did. It did.
Excellent. Anyway, so yeah, so it's what's in the bag.
Yes.
So Tom, please ask me.
Dave, what's in the bag this week?
Have a look.
Month, today. Let's have a look. Ah, yes. A set of Berkeley scales. £50 scales, in fact, Dave.
It doesn't matter what weight they are or what make they are, okay?
So what devil is this? What are you trying to get at here?
Bear with me, Tom. Bear with me,
right.
okay? No,
Yep.
we're just going to need some... I'm going to need some
props.
props.
We'll prime the peg for later.
I'm going to need some props. So I am now... You're not going to see, but I'm going to put some stuff in the bag. Just some general items.
Yep.
Okay. Maybe a rock or two.
If you're going to ask me what that weighs, I've got to tell you, I'm going to big myself up here. I'm very good at this sort of thing.
So please, Tom, tell me, what weight is that?
In that bag? It's hard when it's not fish. £9 one.
£9 1 ounces. There you go. So, just so you know, what does that say?
£9 one.
No, it doesn't, Tom. What does it say?
£5 exactly.
£5 exactly. So what does that tell you, Tom?
The scales are out.
No.
Let's say.
So, the point of all this
Yeah.
tomfoolery is
Yes.
weight limits. Commercial fisheries. We're now, there's every fishery has its weight limits or its net rules. Quite rightly so. It's right that those are that fishery's stock. They are their livestock. They can tell you to do whatever you want with it. The question I'm asking, and it's sort of an open-ended thing. I'm not saying there's a definitive way, but I think it's becoming a bit of a nightmare, if I'm honest. Trying to judge, but bear in mind we're fishing a lot of venues now where £200 is commonplace.
Yes.
It's not, £100 is no longer a special weight. Well, it is to me, but to many it's not. So we're having to use 4 or 5 nets. Some have a wet net limit of £50 on venues that are sort of £400 venues and that. And I think it's getting a bit ridiculous. There's nets all up the bank everywhere and that. And I don't think it's actually fair now that people are being penalised because as anglers we train ourselves to be good at reading water conditions, how fish behaviour, how to feed, things like that. Who said we had to be an expert on weights? And I find it's surely it's costing people money.
It's costing people a lot.
And I'm just not sure, is there not a better way, or maybe a more model way of generalising it so as so everyone's on the same page with it?
Yeah, I'll be honest, mate. The thing I don't like, which happens, and look, every fishery has got the prerogative to protect their fish stocks, haven't they?
Absolutely.
They've got the right to do it.
Absolutely.
So, and you can see why there's thousands of pounds of fish in these lakes, hundreds of thousands of pounds of fish in these lakes. They don't want to see them abused and piled on top of each other. But, as you say, I do feel sorry for these anglers who lose nets. That's the part of all this rule that really sort of gets my goat. When anglers lose a whole net for being like £5 over, so I do feel a bit sorry for them.
Yeah, so that's what I'm sort of getting to, is what do you think is the best sort of way? So I've seen something recently which I actually quite like, because I accept that net limits need to be there. Yeah. I've fallen foul of net limits. It's never cost me, in all fairness, but I've fallen foul. I've gone over in nets and been knocked back. I always quite like that. At Larford it's more now. I think it's £100, but it used to be £75. Yeah. I could handle that. If you go over in £75, you get £75 for the net. You don't lose the whole net.
That's sensible.
I feel that's really harsh, because you can miscount. There's so much going on in a match.
My mate Jordan last week, mate, he had an absolute nightmare at Tunnelbarn Farm. Put so many nets in, accidentally overfilled one. In other words, he thought he thought the net was empty. He'd actually filled it already. Put more in, it cost him placing. He made the match this fine. Lost the whole net.
And Jordan's a top flight, someone who's methodical about everything he does, and even he's missed out because of something like that.
I've seen it happen to Paul Allen. I've seen it happen to Andy Power. It's happened to a lot of good anglers over the years. Yeah. And I agree with you. I mean, to me, the model, you ask for the model system, it is that. It's a net limit, £60, whatever you want it to be, nothing over that in that net will count. But you don't lose a lot. And I think that's fair. Yeah,
because who's going to keep filling a net needlessly? If they think they're over £60, they're going to keep filling it and filling it, and I just don't see it happening. And there is a little part of me that to play devil's advocate, there is a little part of me that thinks it's a little bit hypocritical of some fisheries to then say, you're only putting £50 of my fish in your nets, but the lakes are clearly overstocked, and in an unhealthy level. I'm not naming names, but I'm just saying I think sometimes we have to be careful, like we say about fish welfare and things like that. Yeah. How you know, we are putting hooks in fish's mouths and things like that. You know,
Yeah.
you don't see it. I've never seen it. I don't think I've ever seen someone tip their net of fish back and a dead carp.
I'll tell you what I do, mate. Right? And I touch wood. I found some wood fairly quick. There's a twig down there. I've never been over on a fishery net limit.
I've seen you fish, and I can understand that.
What an absolute dog!
Oh, come on, you've been giving me plenty. Come on.
Yeah, I've been close. But I'll tell you what I do, and it just works for me generally, is 4 nets, whatever you think, you know. If you think you need £300 to win, put enough nets in to give you £300 and split your fish. Now, I've annoyed a few fisheries by doing that in the past. I've had some narky comments by scalesmen because they don't like weighing £20 in each one. But at the end of the day, in your mind as a match angler, you don't want to consider it. That's the way I look at it. I don't even want to be worried or considering that I might go over, so I just take the maximum. And also, I hate putting a net in. You know, if you catch him down the edge and all of a sudden he starts bagging and it goes to the last hour of the day and you're like, right, I need another net now. It often knackers you up, doesn't it?
I often think though as well, with like say a £200 venue, say something like the Glebe, which the winning weights will average somewhere between 150 and 250 pounds.
Yeah.
It doesn't get, occasionally it goes more, but occasionally, if you just put 4 nets in at the start and split your fish over, you're not going to have more than £50 in a net. So why not say, you know, everyone puts 4 nets in it? But
perfect.
I'll be honest, the best one I've seen, because I accept that net limits need to be there, and it took me a while to work it out because I'm not the sharpest, as you know. Todd Bermano went there. And I said, what's the net limit? He said £66. I was like, 66? Why 66? What a strange number. And I realised what it is their scales go up £66. Oh. So when the scalesman, especially a venue like that where they are weighing £300 and £400 regular, you tip 1 net on. If it goes over £66, you get £66 on your way. No messing around. And it saves the scalesman having to tip fish in, tip fish out, things like that. So 66, and I could handle that. I thought, yeah, that's the way. £66, you know their scales, go up to £66, end of, game over. But
I'm going to tell you a story now that will strike fear into your heart.
It's not the first time, Tom. Is this one fishing related though?
This is fishing and weighing in related. And it happened at Tunnel Barn Farm, and it happened about 3 years ago in the Dower Pole Fishing Masters, an event I run. We were weighing in the lake, and there was a lad called Jamie doing the weighing in, and I was watching him because I was covering it, and it was really close. Dead ship was weighing in, and he got a chance of winning the festival. And he tipped a net of fish on the scales, and I thought there's about £80 in there. And at this point there was £100 net limit, about £80. So he put them in, and he put them on the scales. And I watched the guy on the scales, and it went £66. And there were digital scales, good brand of digital scales that are used very commonly. I saw it with my own eyes, £66. The lad did nothing wrong. He's lifted them off, and he's about to tip them back. And Des has said, I think there's a bit more than £66 in there. Can you weigh them again? And the lad's gone, yeah, of course, yeah. And I said, it did say £66, but I agree, there does look more. Put them back on, and it was something like £78 on the second reading.
Right.
So, obviously, this is opening a big can of worms. How accurate are these digital scales in certain situations? And how many people over the years have been cost by inaccuracy like that? I quite like seeing the old dial go round, mate. Yeah,
there's still something about that in there. So, but yeah, scales, it's always going to be a bone of contention, isn't it? But that was the point I wanted to point out. And it's only the reason I mentioned was because I'd seen that at Todborough, and I thought, yeah, £66, okay, I can handle that. Yeah. That does mean if you catch £400, you're going to have a lot of nets in, but it doesn't, you know, it's not ridiculous, is it? No. I think £50 too low in a modern day commercial.
Yeah, no, I think you're dead right.
But I just think it's a shame to see people's dreams, and it is dreams, shattered. You know, people dream of getting into these big finals, and to have that snatched away because of a miscalculation. Yeah, and bear in mind, people are numerically dyslexic. Some people might think, oh, I've got, you know, that in that net, get mixed up. It just doesn't. I don't think it seems fair to me, and that's just. Well, I think we should just perhaps be a bit more, you know, together on it and come up with a thing. But
I'm not dyslexic. I've never even been to dyslexia.
Somehow you manage to get a bad joke into every section, don't you? One day you'll get a good one in. Right, should we do some more fishing?
Shall we catch some on the running line?
Yes, let's do some proper float, some trotting, as someone might call it.
Go on then, me old dude, let's do it. Dave, I'm quite surprised, to be honest. We've got a river full of fish in front of us, and yet, based on how the fish have responded on the pole, you're suggesting we start off with a bit of bread rather than blasting a load of bait down the peg.
Yeah, well, I did feel like I was very confident fishing that pole, and I thought we're just gonna bag up, you know, usual sort of misguidedness. I thought we're gonna bag up, and it didn't really happen. We had a couple of fish and missed a few bites, but they've not come onto it. So I'm figuring they're in a bit of a funny mood, which they can be at this time of year. It's very, very humid today.
It's warm and close, isn't it?
So, like with bread, whether it be summer or winter, it's a lovely target bait, but something that you can fish without feeding.
Yes.
So, you know, we've been feeding plenty of pellets on the pole. They haven't responded to it. So before we start feeding the stick flow like properly, you know, with maybe like hemp and meat or hemp and casters and things like that, running a piece of bread through for me is just a way of finding out if they are there and willing to feed.
Yes.
And you know, you might not, but the only bit you're going to feed is what you strike off at the end of your thing, or if you miss a bite. So it's just a good way to search the peg. I feel there's fish in front of us. So like let's just give them. And bread's such a target. You know, it's a big bait, isn't it? It looks big in the water, and it's.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's well, this is a lovely feeling rod. It has got a bit more poke than some of the lighter Cadence ones. It's going to give it a little underarm into the flow there. Then. How's that?
That's not bad, Tom. It's not bad. Now, I'm always ridiculing you for your hard, abrasive strikes.
Yes.
Let me tell you, with this method, Tom, you can strike as hard as you want.
Oh, that's what I like to hear.
We've got a big hook, we've got a piece of bread on there.
Strike as hard as I want, but not too soon, I'm guessing.
Yeah, just make sure it's gone. And you can just let it run, no need for any mamby-pamby.
Oh, okay. So
holding back and that, just running at them.
Pace to the river, yeah. She's off down there.
That's it, look at that, trundling through there beautifully. We're working on the theory that they're going to spot it and come to it rather than be sat in a trail of food and hopefully find our hook bait. This is just one big hook bait.
I'm guessing you've set that slightly off the deck, have you?
Yeah, we're running a foot off bottom there, so it's like, because I think this time of year as well, the chub can be sat up under, you know, they can be basking and not really doing anything properly. So you can you know, you get it in their eye line either by coming off bottom, you know, dragging it just along the bottom might miss a fish or two.
And we're going to go right to the bottom of the peg.
Yeah, that's probably as far as you want to go. Give it a strike, get that bread off at the end, and then might take a few runs through just to get them.
The full one.
But chub loves
How long
bread.
are we giving this then? How long are we giving it? 10 casts?
It'll take you as long as you want. As long as it takes, Tom.
As long as it takes to catch
We're not leaving here until you catch one.
Okay, so let's have a little chat about the Cadence. We've got here the 14-foot Match No3. Number 3 obviously relates to the power. Load us up, Dave, load us up. You're the guide, aren't you?
I'm the bread man, am I? Oh, so there you go, so I've dropped the hook. Yeah. Now, this is a rod, Tom, that I won't lie to you, I own.
You own this rod? A version of this
not that one, I've got two of the other ones. I use them for my guiding, and I find... well, no, you're going to have to find out yourself, but I use them, put it that way. And they are a number 3, so they're number 3 action, as we know with the Cadence rods. You know, they're 1, 2, 3 action, a number 3 action match rod, which basically means they've got a bit of power.
Yes, we're a bit further out this
time.
Yeah,
get across those bubbles if you can. So it's got some beef in it. Now, the action of the rod is very much a through action, but with this one you can really, you know, I've caught some big barbel on mine on float.
Yes.
And you sort of like,
that was a bite, wasn't it?
That was a bite, Tom. Yeah. I'd say it might have been a small fish, because the big fish usually, when they take it under, they nail it. You know, there's no wonder. You don't die wondering. Good strike there, Tom. Good strike.
I like that. Yeah.
That's what I expect from you.
I don't want to ever die wondering.
No.
You know, should I have struck? Shouldn't I have struck? Was that strike too gentle?
The one thing I know, Tom, is if we were fishing for 3-ounce roach on the Trent or something, you'd be striking like that as well.
Oh, don't worry about that.
Come on, get it over. Get it out in that flow.
You want it more out than that? Even more out?
Yeah. Look at that. Beautiful.
How's that for you?
Yeah. So we've gone for a dome top stick on here. This is a bit of visibility. There's a little fish there, I think.
Yeah,
Tom.
I'm not going to strike just yet.
Yeah, no, you're right there, Tom. You did right.
I know I did, Dave. Has my bread come off? Look, is that it?
No, they wouldn't have taken it.
There's something floating on the surface at the back of it all.
It's not your bread, because I squeezed it on there. It won't float.
Ah.
Right, just let it run now.
So, yeah, 160 quid this rod. Fiji guide.
There it is.
Ooh, that was a lovely bite, wasn't it? I like that. I like this.
Nice strike as well, Tom.
I haven't even hit one yet. But
no, you'll hit one. If you keep striking like that, Tom, one day you'll be a man.
Oh, go on. Load us up, pal. I could get used to this. Are you available on Saturday?
No.
Sunday?
Nope. Why are you
Honestly,
asking?
if I won the lottery, I'd have you as my gilly. I would. Rebate for me, Jeeves.
I'd probably take I'd probably take the job if I'm honest. There you go.
So yeah, so I mean, really, that's perfect then, because you fish with this rod a lot more. So everything I can offer based on this first impressions, you can trump with years of experience. So tell me a bit about the fish you've caught on this rod up to now, mate.
Right. So my first experience of this rod actually was quite an extreme one, really, because I bought a couple for my guiding service, and I had a chap who came who wanted to catch barbel on float, which is quite a common. You know, my two main inquiries, if you like, are catching a first barbel or catching a barbel on the float.
Yeah.
And this chap came, and he was an experienced angler. He'd fished before, but he hadn't fished for barbel. And so I took him onto a peg, and where I knew the barbel were, and we fished. I think I put a line. It was 0.23. It was a heavy line, and I put it through and fished it. It's very fast swim, see, so I was a bit worried about making sure we had the right gear on. And so yeah, 0.23 straight through to a size 10, and we banded pellets and fish pellets, and he caught 8 barbel on it, up to 8 barbel up to about 8 pounds. We didn't weigh them, but a couple of them were big.
Yeah.
And what struck me, was when he hooked them, I thought, well, this will be interesting, because it's a very fast swim, and there's no respite from the flow. But straight away, what happened was I just saw the action of the rod, and it was like, you know, bent round, and this barbel was like just using the floater, and it was just pump, 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 and it just.
So you needed that sort of.
The whole rod was just playing the fish.
So is it a through action, or is it sort of a mid?
Yeah, it is through action. It's like a lot of the cadence rod. They've got this action, and it's you know, if it needs to, it bends right through.
Yeah.
But obviously, with this rod, because it's a number 3, it takes a while. It takes more pressure for it to bend right through.
Yes.
But it's a progressive action. It'll still bend. It never locks up.
Yeah.
It never looks. And then I say I was stood behind watching this guy. I was almost wincing, thinking, "Oh, this is going to be this is
going to be expensive."
And it just carried on bending, and it just played the fish nicely. And we caught them, and in the end, so calm. And I've gone back since, fished the swim myself and fished with it, and I've used these for like winter chub. You know, when you're fishing those wagglers at distance, when you've really got to sort of strike from a long way.
Yeah.
You know, just things like that. You know, it's basically, for me, it's a chub and barbel rod. You know, it's not something I'd use for dace and roach, although you could if it was, you know, fast flowing or something. But it's just a bit pokey for that. But if you catch chub and barbel.
And let's face it, you know, it's interesting, we were talking earlier, I had a match at the weekend on the Trent, and the rivers were so low, and the river was so low and clear, should I say, that nearly every barbel that was caught on a float. And I know this could be a controversial point, but, you know, obviously people talk about global warming, but we do seem to find ourselves fishing low summer rivers a lot more than in my memory we used to, don't we? You know, we seem to get less.
I'll tell you what, Tom, I'm not sure you want to get me started on this, because there's a lot of talk about this river in particular at the moment, about phosphate levels, about farming, and, you know, poultry runoff and all this stuff, and it's real stuff, you know. It's good that people are talking about it.
Yeah.
But for me, the biggest problem in this river, and bear in mind that I salmon fish as well, so I see a lack of salmon running the river. The biggest problem we face is a lack of water, and we seem to have fallen into this yearly pattern that we get big floods in February.
Yeah.
January, February, we get big floods. And then March time, it stops raining, and it just doesn't rain again. Yeah. And even, say, obviously we get odd days of rain. A couple of weeks ago, probably about, I think it was weekend before last, we had a whole day of rain.
Yeah.
It did nothing to the river. Yeah. The water table is so low, there's just nothing. It would take a week of rain like that to even do anything to it.
Yeah.
And this is the problem. So what happens from that? We get these low water levels, which means, you know, the riverbed, more of the riverbed is exposed, which means the weed beds are exposed. We've got, you know, there's as much good strike time.
Oh, that's right, sir. Well, you're going to have to catch me on, because I'm obviously used to it.
No, carry on. You do fine, Tom. We're fishing at distance there, so all I would say is go a little bit further over, I think, because it just.
Have a run through. Please. Do you want to take it in turns? We need to talk about this box in a minute.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about climate change, Tom.
I know.
There's more important things.
I know. I want about bollow fishing as well.
Right, okay. Yeah, so I told you not to take me off on a tangent, didn't I?
Oh, you've got off on one, Paul.
Yeah, well, anyway.
Carry on.
So long story is the riverbed is exposed, and this river is being used by more and more people. There's more kayaks than there's ever been before. There's more wild swimmers, and which I've got absolutely no problem with at all. You know, it's all inclusive. The river's here for everyone. But the riverbed is exposed, and every time we saw it up here earlier, there was a kayak came down, and all it does is it's grounding on the gravel. Now on that same gravel I was watching chub spawn only a week ago. Yeah. So there's a few issues there, and it's this low water, and you'll see also on the gravels you'll find they're covered in this sort of sludge. It's like a brown sludge, and everyone says, oh, it's disgusting. It's basically it's chicken manure. It's, you know, all the, and it's not. It's because those pebbles are exposed to this sunlight at this time of year without any, you know, there's no flow to wash it. If we get a flood, all that washes away and it's gone. So it's kind of like, so for me, the climate change issue is the biggest issue. You know, and don't get me wrong, you won't find me hugging a tree or anything like that. I'm not one of them, Tom.
You're not one of them.
But there is no two ways about it. We don't get as much rain as we should.
I don't think so.
Or we need even.
And I think that, as I said, we find ourselves fishing low rivers. Oh, was that a bite?
Oh, I bumped one.
I
bumped one. I felt it, Tom.
Did you?
Long way down that one.
You're good, you aren't you? Well, you would have been if you didn't.
Well, you know, it'd been better.
But no, we do find ourselves fishing float more and more, and it was really interesting how, you know, me and Matt Godfrey were talking to a lot of anglers after the match, and nearly all of them who caught barbel caught them on a float, and it seemed that they wanted that movement. It really did. So, a very useful tool to have in the armoury, I'm saying. And for 160 quid, it's a quality piece of kit. It's not breaking the bank, is it? No,
it's the usual, and it's the usual setup with the Cadence. It's got the Fiji rings, you know, the quality ones, not the cheap ones.
Combination of neoprene and cork on the handle. Classy, sir, classy.
Classy. Combination, I like that.
Would you call it a duet?
I think we can say the rod is well dressed, Tom. I think that might be, that'd be a nice way of putting it. So it's your cast now then, is it?
I think it is actually. Yeah.
Shall I load it again?
I think so.
I'll be your bread man.
And I'm going to just change the subject again. We're going to go away from bollow rods, or should I say,
get it over there.
Power float rods, and we're going to go on to this box that I'm stood on confidently, taking my life in my hands, I must add, on this breeze block ridden, beautiful but breeze block ridden bank.
Well, this was one of the reasons we came here, because I knew the banks were a bit tricky, and we needed to test the leg system. So I've noticed you've done more. You put it together, actually, in all fairness, and I have to say you did a fine job, Tom. I thought you'd struggle with that sort of.
I'm a very, very technical guy.
I thought you'd struggle with that sort of practical work. You know.
Yeah, it's true. I normally do.
Bit of a pen pusher these days, aren't you?
I am. I'm not. These hands. Look at these hands. What do these look like?
No, don't.
What do these hands look like they've been doing to you, Dave?
Yeah, nothing to me. Yes. So you put it together. What I've noticed is, so it's got 36mm legs. Talk to me about 36mm legs, Tom. I've asked you this before. What's the advantage of 36mm legs? Bear in mind, I'm an angler of many years. I've owned numerous seat boxes, but never owned a 36mm leg.
Well, as a man of, shall we say, ample proportions, with a bit of a belly on him, and somebody who likes to feel secure when they're sat on a seat box, I really like a 36mm system.
I thought you were talking about me then. The
no,
abuse
you're slender by comparison.
Oh, Tom.
Aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a lump. There's a lot of Hereford beef here. Oh, Tom.
No, sir. Yes, sir.
That's going too far down now, isn't it? We need bites further up the peg.
You like that? You've
not nailed it.
I have.
You didn't even know that was on, look. It was a good strike. The strike deserved a fish, in all fairness.
Oh, it's off.
Come off. That's because that's the worst thing with chub fishing when you're fishing at long distances. Setting those hooks, you just don't get. Well, you can see you didn't even feel it at first. Right, they're there though, aren't they?
They're there, mate. Oh, they're there. Your turn. It's done me, Dave. You haven't tied the hook on properly.
I think that was actually feel that. That's rougher than a night in Sheffield.
I've been done, and that's your fault.
It's not. That was because you didn't hook it. You didn't give it enough stick first of all. And it's rubbed you off against the rocks.
It's been a while, Dave, since I've been rubbed off against the rocks, I'll tell you, my old pal.
Right,
especially
come on.
in Hereford.
You leave Hereford alone, all right? There's no rubbing off goes on in Hereford. I can tell you.
It is spawning grounds. We're all on the gravels after all.
Well, yeah, well, right. Now this we need to sort this out, because that's not good, is it? We can't be losing fish to. I don't mind pulling out of an odd and getting snapped up.
Yeah, this seat box. H36mm legs, you were saying.
Yeah, where we? Yeah, so give me the advantages of a 36mm leg.
It's stability to me, mate.
Is that all it is? Is it as simple as that?
Well, I think so, but it does work on many levels. I.e., it's not just a case of it being more stable in the water or on the platform or on the bank.
Can you keep that line tight, please? I'm trying to tie a hook here.
I'll keep that tight. It's not just stability in that sense. Obviously, everything that goes on the box is more stable. Your attachments are more stable.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously slightly bigger diameter.
Yeah.
So I think in a nutshell, that's what I'd say the advantage of a 36mm system is.
Right, so what price is this box coming at?
This box, the RRP on it is a shade under £500, so £499, but you can pick them up, depending on where you look, for just under 400 quid.
And,
so they are very reasonably priced.
And talking of picking up, what weight are they?
Well, that's a good question. We've got your scales, we'll find out, shall we?
That's a good idea, Tom.
Isn't it just?
Yeah. I don't think they only go up to...
£50. It definitely don't weigh £50,
I don't know, I'm as useless as you.
Definitely don't weigh £50.
But so it's fairly lightweight. So it's got this design which I've seen before, but I've never seen it with 36mm legs, where you've got a foot plate which separates and comes off.
Yeah. Which I quite like.
Yeah, like that idea, because I say a four-legged box for me on these sorts of venues is really good and really useful. So yeah, I like that idea. But also, if you're doing any sort of long pole fishing, you need a foot plate. Generally, you if you don't, you end up with a bad back. As I can vouch, Tom.
Yeah.
But it's my go now, isn't it?
It is your go. Put that on quick, didn't you? That was no messing.
Not much my go, Tom. I'll tell you what. If it was still your go, I'd have been still tying it. Get right over there.
Sir.
It's
all overhand, eh?
Yeah, it goes against a little bit against the grain this does, not feeding. But some days I just think like if you think there's fish in your swim, and you've not caught by not feeding, sometimes it's just good just fishing bread. There's
logic to it, though, mate. As you say, that pole, to say the quality of this peg, I know is second to none. Not every day is a feeding frenzy, is it? And we're in the heat of the day as well, middle of the day.
Sorry, so let's go back to the box. So yeah, so it's got that removable foot plate. I noticed as well the leg system. I was looking at it.
You got
Thomas.
That one. Oh, tell you what.
Oh, it's come off. It's come off.
No. These rubber hooks. What are these hooks?
Tom, they're obviously in a funny mood. I'm in a funny mood
now.
I'll tell you what.
We've lost 2 in 2.
However, that one was right up the swim. They're coming looking now, Tom.
Are they?
Might have to put a big hook on. In all fairness, that is a small hook for bread. I use like an 8.
Yeah, and what's
normally.
that, 12?
That's a 12.
Right. There you go then. Prepare yourself, Dave. Sir is about to see a display.
That line further over is one though, definitely.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, so the leg system. So yeah, I've noticed that they've got the bottom legs, the inserts legs, the extendable. They're all extendable legs. The inserts they lock into place with a screw in. You know, it screws into the leg, which I quite like actually. I got that on my Preston box, and they've lasted years. You know, although it dents the metal when it's going in, they've lasted. And then on the top ones, on the actual main legs, so not the extendable bit, they are on a thread which the screw wheel, thumb wheel, is that the right word?
Yep.
That pulls out. It pulls it out.
Yeah, because we examined that earlier, didn't we? Because we had a little bit of difficulty, but it's a good mechanism, isn't it? Good structure.
Yeah. So yeah, it just seems to like pull out, which gives you that. I don't think it slips as much.
That's. Oh. That was a bite, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
a firm bite, a firm strike. Do we need this big hook, Dave?
We might do. I'm gonna have my run through without it.
Oh, I'll tell you.
And then we'll see.
I'll pop. Sorted it out for you, pal. I quite like this. It's going under a few times. We've both lost one.
It is, but I feel it's become a bit competitive now. Like who's going to land one first?
It'll be me.
Well, the rod is about to be in my hand, so we will.
It seems you have the upper hand.
True. Yeah. So those wheels. So those you screw the thing, and it's on a thread, and it pulls the block inside the leg housing. Yeah. Get me using technical term, leg housing.
I like it.
It pulls that out as opposed to screwing into the leg and damaging the leg. So I would suggest that means we'll get longer life out of the leg.
Yes.
Thing. What's it like? I didn't have a look. How many drawers and stuff has it got?
Right. Let's go through it.
Yeah, and also, is there like MAP? Have they got a stacker system that links to it?
Yes, they do. Yeah, I'm fairly sure they do. Although I haven't specifically looked into stacker systems, but generally drawer modules are sold separately for different boxes. So this box here, I'm sat on it now. You've got 15 stone of Yorkshire's finest on it. It's opening and closing with me sat on it beautifully. We've got a deep drawer at the bottom with 2 compartments that are preset in there. Nice magnetic locking system.
Tom,
Has they got that? You haven't. You have, haven't you?
I have. I don't think it's a big one.
You have, haven't you?
It's not a big one, but it's, you know, it's a fish, Tom.
Deep draw, shallow draw, chub on. What's that? I don't count. I can swing that.
I'm not swinging it, Tom. It's a nice day. There's no need for behaviour like that.
Right.
It's a starting point. We can work with that.
I heard that Hereford was the swinging capital of the world.
For roach it is, generally.
He's had it, Dave, that has. Wanted it.
Do you want to disgorge?
I think I'm all right. I think I'm just about...
This is the trouble when we're using new boxes. We haven't got all our gubbins in the thing, have we?
Little
Perfect in miniature. Right, come on, you catch me a bigger one then, Tom.
8 foot, go on, Dave, load me up. You're good at this.
I am actually.
So, yeah, I'll tell you what I like about this, mate. There's a few little features that spring to mind. First of all, the security of the locking nut. You've got adjustable legs, telescopic, all of them are telescopic, so you can adjust them at the bottom, and obviously you've got a little bit of play as well at the top.
What's that seat like, Tom?
At the moment, I'm going to be honest, it's firm, I'd say, but you'd hope it would be when you first bought it, because generally they soften as you go, don't they?
Yeah.
We go for the overhand like you've been doing, Dave.
Yeah, it just gets it on that line, I think, Tom.
How's that for you, pal?
It'll do.
Yeah, it's nice. It's
Oof, crikey.
that was well.
That was away, wasn't it? That was away. Can't believe you missed that, Tom.
Hey, what's happened there?
The float rubber's come down, slipped down, because of the dome top, it's come down the throat. Because you struck so hard.
You told me I couldn't strike too hard.
Yeah, I forgot that you strike up in the air though. If you do a side strike as hard as you can, then the float doesn't come out of the water.
Right, okay, I'll do that this time. Every day's a school day, folks.
You charge for these sort of lessons, you know.
Yeah, you're very expensive, aren't you? How much is it for a day were you doing this?
Price on application, Tom.
Depends who it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting feature on these, the top of the leg on each leg takes off, and there's actually a thread inside, so you can screw attachments straight on.
So you can have your butt rest on there or things like
Yep,
that. Yeah,
absolutely. The actual trays themselves, it's a little pull-push clip system, which is nice. I think it looks absolutely fantastic, very classy.
Yeah. Tell you what, Tom, you just keep talking, I'll keep catching, all right?
You're good at this. I feel like I'm in your domain, and you, sir, are putting in a display now, aren't you?
No, it's just.
How's the rod? How's the rod?
Look at that action there. So this is like, say, it's not overgunned for this. This isn't a big fish again, but it's not overgunned for it.
These are the pups, aren't they?
Yeah.
The sort of fish I'm managing to avoid.
Yeah, but that's the action is right for that. If it was, you know, smaller roach and stuff, they're getting bigger, Tom.
Lovely fish, that, isn't it? You'd take one of them a chuck, wouldn't you?
The river is full of these at the moment as well. There's
a
loads.
Pound? It's got to be a pound.
Yeah. It's just like the last 2 years we've just had an explosion of them. Yeah, I'll do a swap. Sorry, I did I interrupt you again? Were you talking?
No. I think I said what I wanted to say about the features.
Yeah, so it's got the legs there. It's got a good carry strap on. I'll show that now. While you're having a go, I'll just show our viewers.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be putting some cutaways on. 36mm as well. Obviously fits lots of different attachments. Is that a matrix tray you've got on there, my old beaut?
Yeah.
Matrix tray. So a matrix or.
Yeah, any normal 36mm thing. Good padded carry strap, Tom, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, you'd take that, wouldn't you?
With the double harness. I mean, you could literally with that, you could do like rock climbing.
Oh, you could.
You know what I mean?
Well, the world's your oyster, pal, isn't it, really?
And also, which I don't see this on boxes. This comes with a seat cover as well.
It does. That's a nice touch, isn't it?
You don't get that with generally. Do you have to buy that sort of thing? You have to pay for that sort of thing, Tom.
I'm going to say something now. You ready for a bit of controversy? Sorry, MAP, if you don't like this, but I think we've given this box the best possible workout tow. We bought it on the river, but most MAP anglers I see, or anglers sat on the MAP brand, are tackle tarts because it looks so nice. It's quite a trendy, quite a sexy brand, isn't it? I think.
I could sort that out, couldn't I, Tom? I'd bring it on here. It wouldn't be clean then.
Well,
would
and me, you know, and I think what we've done here is taken it somewhere where it's pretty extreme. I mean, generally, for most seat boxes, you'd have probably put a platform in here, wouldn't you? Or on the yacht box, you'd use the outrigger system. But
it is. In all fairness, this is particularly hard because there's a load of old like breeze blocks and stuff in here. It's all like different shapes, but
it's a good test.
It hasn't moved, does it? Bring it back from there, Tom. You're just going to end up with a long strike and
no fish.
Heartbreak in the end. I don't know. If you want to catch them, they're going to be up here, I reckon.
Right, let's have one then.
Let's have a proper cast. Over a bit further, Tom.
Over a bit further. This is the one, Paul.
Yeah.
It's your go again, come on.
Oh yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry
Go on, have another cast, Tom. I feel like I'm hogging the fish.
No. When you get to my time of life, Paul, I'm not bothered. No, I was told a lovely story by John Ellis of the Cadence River Trust the other day. And they've been holding this Commonwealth Games of Fishing in Birmingham.
Right.
So it's these kids fishing against each other. And one of them, this kid, basically tied with this other kid for the gold medal in this Commonwealth Games thing. And it was a dead tie on a 1 kilo 750. And apparently this older lad's gone to the younger lad and said, look, there's only one gold medal, but you can have it because you're younger than me and I'll take the silver. And John was saying, what a nice touch that is. And I said, no, actually, I think Tommy Pickering or any sort of sportsman who likes to win would be saying, what have you done that for? Take the gold, fight for it, fight to the death.
Yeah, but I'm...
You'll not win at all costs, are you, mate? You're all heart, aren't you? You
Absolutely.
are, aren't you?
I'm not, no, I couldn't. But I think, I think whoever that was should be very proud of themselves. If you imagine being that lad's parents, he's done that. You say, well done, son. You finished second. You're a disgrace.
Take him out.
no, you wouldn't. You know what I mean? Imagine that was
grounded for a week.
Imagine if that was your child. How proud would you be? That's like ultimate sportsmanship. I know what you're saying.
Nah, but
winning's.
I'm joking about it because I just find it obviously there is a philosophy with parenting and everything. You've got to breed a winning mentality and all that. And I thought quite an interesting one that because it's very commendable, but it's not quite a winning attitude.
Yeah, it doesn't quite. It doesn't put the trophies in the cabinet, does it, Tom?
No.
I
think as you say, if it were my lad, I'd be proud.
Yeah.
One thing I haven't been impressed with, it's not very often I'm self-critical. You know, I've got a very high opinion of myself normally. But I'm not impressed with my bread fishing up to now. I'm moving further over this time now.
That's it. You'll get a bite now. That is the cast. You don't need to do anything with the float, Tom. Just let it run.
Let it run. It's running.
See, the thing is, just a little technical tip, right? Is that when you've got a big bait, you know you're going to strike hard. And sometimes you get a downstream wind and stuff, and everyone's obsessed with getting the line straight and whatever. As long as that strike is going to connect you with that float at some point in your striking arc, you've got a chance. And sometimes that's enough. Some people spend so long trying to mend the float and get it straight.
Yeah,
that they pull the float off line. Whereas now you're running through the hot zone now. It just means the further it goes. Now I'd be giving it a mend, but the further you go, see, if you're in contact with it, you can strike at that now, and you'll have a chance.
I want a 4-pounder.
Could do with finding a 4-pounder, couldn't we?
I tell you what's amazing about this to me, mate. I know some of the catches you've had from this peg over the last few weeks because we've been talking an awful lot, and we know the fish are there. I mean, we saw this morning. There's a little video I put on of some chub eating bread off the surface. And yet, here we are, basically struggling to catch proper sized fish, aren't we? And it just goes to show that, you know, if the fish don't want to open their mouth, it doesn't matter how many's there.
The other thing as well is we're not quiet when we're doing this, are we? We're up and down the bank with cameras and stuff like that.
It's the bloody cameraman over there.
Cameraman Jack, he's like an
elephant, isn't he?
No, I was going to say he's like the SAS of the filming world. Like, you know what I mean? He just appears and he's not there. But ultimately, we're leaving a bit of a footprint on the bank. So I can understand the fish being a bit cagey at this time of year. The river's clear, isn't it? But I do think we'll catch some more. We're just it's just not quite that, you know. We
mended that well up the peg though. Is that just to make sure it's
so it's running now.
Running, yeah.
Usually you want sort of 2 or 3 mends for the whole thing. So I just want these little sections now, like where I get a good run in it. So like I know if that goes under now, I've got a bit of a boa line, but I'll know I can strike hard enough to contact. Now I feel like it's getting a bit out of control, so I'll just give it a mend.
Interesting.
Just to get behind it like that.
To me, obviously, it's not ideal because we're fishing in slower water than the flow.
Yeah, so the flow pulls it round. So you just got to be. But now I'm running through like a 4 or 5 yard stretch where I feel I've got a good chance of a bite, so I'm letting it go.
Got you.
Now the line's going a bit more, so I'll just give it another mend. I know I'm in contact with it because the float's moved. So now I'm just not letting any more line out. It doesn't look like it's going to go this time.
You've caught them all, pal.
such a good method bred though. I mean, it is a winter method for me, but it's so positive. Like even in the depths of winter when everyone's like scratching for bites, like you're still fishing a size 8 hook and a, you know, an 017 or something like that.
And the beauty of it is what you hook you're going to land, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
So we'll make this the last cast and then we'll go up the bank and show these lovely people what's in our used and abused. Well, it's not called used and abused. What's it called?
Tried and tested.
Tried and tested. Yes.
My patience is going to be on it one year.
Any jokes for me, Dave? Tell me a joke. You told me a good one the other day, actually.
Yeah, what was it?
It was about
an
epileptic woman.
Yeah. So yeah, a husband said. So he said, I've mistakenly put my wife's epileptic treatment in the washing machine. But on the plus side, her clothes don't fit anymore. which is kind of. It's not nice you've got epilepsy, so I can only apologise to
No, it's fine. It's good humour. It's not offending anybody.
It's one of those ones. It took me a while to get it. I was like, what? I don't get it, but the fit has it.
It's a play on words, Dave.
It is a play on words, Tom. Right, this has gone quiet now, isn't it?
Double entendre. Pun, isn't it? A pun. Right, well, I'm sorry, pal, but you can keep the wine, I'll have the Trent as far as I'm concerned. I think we're far better off up our neck of the woods.
I think you're right. Oh, he was having a go.
Sir did strike then, didn't he?
Sure did. Well, there you go, Tom. So you found one eventually.
I tell you what, it's not as easy as you make it look, this game, is it?
I think you found a bigger fish, though, I think.
I'm just showboating a bit, I'll be honest.
Yeah. You're just enjoying the fight.
I am.
What do you reckon to the rod then? What do you reckon to that action?
I think it's, for this, I mean, you're totally in control. You could crank it in if you wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, that's a small fish for this rod,
It's
really.
lovely. It's nice in the hand. It has got a little bit of a forgiving nature in the tip, which is nice. But, I mean, all in all, it's lovely, isn't it?
To be honest, they are the most complete rod that I've used for this.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
I've used some expensive rods and some real specialist rods, you know, like
yes.
Bolo rods and stuff like that. But just for a rod that's like 14 foot is such a nice length for waggler, for big stick, for anything like that. And being able to really, like you do, I always joke about your striking, but being able to really lay into these bites
yes.
that you have to with chub. I just think they're just the job for me.
No, it's a lovely piece of kit, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Dave, I'm really, really enjoying this bit of bread fishing. It's
different, isn't it?
It's
very,
special, isn't
very
it?
positive as well.
It is positive. He's right in the corner of the mouth.
I need to get you a disgorger, don't I?
I don't think so. It's all of them have been easily accessible.
Yeah.
I'm going to catch another one now. We'll have to.
Go on then, Tom. Well, Tom, this thing really turned into the chub fest I thought it might do, but so we've had a few fish on the bread there, giving the rod a bit of a test.
We have.
However, I don't feel like we've given it a good enough test.
No.
So I'm going to take...
Do you have something up your sleeve?
I do, Tom. I'm going to take you to a very special place now.
Are you? Somewhere I've never been before?
Not for the first time. Yeah, no, I've got a little idea where I think we might be able to give this rod a good test, so we're going to go a little bit mobile, I think.
I like it, a bit of stalking.
Yeah, why not?
I've got to be careful, I got in trouble for that one.
Oh no, it's not your first time stalking, I know.
Let's have a wander.
Pass me the rod, I'll be your gilly. Follow me.
Onwards, Christian soldiers.
Yeah, that's the one.
There we are, Dave. That is a more powerful fish. I don't know whether it's a chub actually or a barbel, but it's...
It might change its mind.
It's not very happy about being hooked.
No, I see you've got this extra flow here, so it's...
And this is a perfect opportunity to give this rod a workout, isn't it?
Yeah, looks like you might get a canoe through it in a minute as well.
Oh, everything. Extenuating circumstances. Oh, it's a big chub, Dave.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at the action in that rod nailer. See, now you see.
Now we're feeling the advantage of that number 3, aren't we?
Yeah.
The fact that this is a number 3 in the range, in that flow with a big fish like that, that's awesome. And they really do pull hard, don't they?
They do, and so there's no respite here, so you've just got to keep control, really, keep in contact. Here we go. That's a big old chub, isn't it?
That's lovely, that, isn't it? That's what it's all about.
Yeah,
mate,
see, that's it. So we're giving the rod a good test there.
That was a good test.
And that's
£3 of anybody's money, isn't it?
£4, that is.
£4?
Yeah. That's £4, that one. There we go.
So Dave, 3 awesome products, an awesome venue. Yes, the fishing's not being what it sometimes is on this bit, but I think we've got 3 real nice quality bits of kit for this one, haven't we?
Yeah, well, we've used them. It was the right place to bring them, in all fairness, as much as I'm biased, Tom. You know, an uneven rocky bottom to get the box level on, and a powerful swim like this to you know, to sort of test the strength of this rod and the action of this rod, as well as some other smaller fish downstream, and a couple of chub on the pole, which you know, with a big flat float, which showed its performance and
at length
strength
as well.
Yeah,
fishing the full 10 metres.
So I think we did it. So what are your assumptions? Firstly, with, well, since I'm holding it, the rod. What do you reckon to this rod then?
Well, it's yet again from Cadence. That is a sublime piece of kit for the money. It's real quality. You know, I feel like Cadence, every rod we've tested, they could put 100 quid on it and still be good value.
Yeah.
You know, 160 quid for that.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
And I just feel in this scenario, I say I use them, so I can't, you know, it's not a case of being biased. I just use them, so I know what they're capable of, and
Yeah, but you know, people forget with you. You've had a long history of rod development with TriCast. You worked with them for years, you know. So it's not like you don't know what you're on about when it comes to rod design, and for you to make that choice,
to be able to sort of latch into a fish on this sort of powerful swim, and just have to hold on. You know, there's no point in backwinding or letting you've got to just hold on, and to be able to do that with a rod, you've got to have confidence in it. You know, and that's what you have with these rods, and they're just versatile as well. I say, like waggler fishing at range, you know, that they're great for that. They've got a real fast recovery on them. So yeah, I'm a big fan.
Definitely. And the seat box, I mean, to me, super lightweight yet sturdy design. I'm really impressed with the structure of it, the way that the you know, that the knobs and bolts lock everything in place is really good. It looks great. It's a good price point. I'm really impressed. I
was keen to know about the 36-inch legs, because I've seen that sort of box before, but not with the 36.
Yeah,
36
a light box with 36 mil length.
And it is light, and it's got a place. It's not like, say, I don't think you're gonna. It's not like it's not your Reeve sort of box. I keep using that term, but you know, like it's not
continental
that
seat
continental
box.
side, but yeah, it's a box that if you're someone who doesn't like carrying lots of bulky kit, fishes a variety of venues that you might want to take a footplate off, and you know, and also you don't want to break the bank at was it under £500, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then I think yeah, it's a decent bit of kit.
I think for the money, it's stunning. And lastly, the pole. I mean, that performed beautifully with M-Chub today. I got to use it on the river last week. It was perfectly usable for fishing at the full length, fishing to hand. As I said on the review, I think obviously if it was just that purpose you were looking to buy a rod for, I'd probably look at something else. But for a dual purpose power pole and pole to hand type tool, I think it's a great piece of kit.
Yeah, and I think as well, you know, it comes with a standard package, you know, 2 top kits and a mini butt, but you've always got the option of buying extra kits if you felt you wanted to, because there's no reason why you couldn't use that pole on the canal if you know, set your tops up with the longer tops and put a lighter elastic in. You know, it is, you know, like in all fairness, you were right earlier to touch on the cost of living, as it's
yes.
You know, it is. People do have to really look at what they're spending money on, and I think maybe spending, like, you know, £350 on a pole like that will do a job for you if your venues suit that. Well, it's, you know, it's an option, isn't it?
Absolutely. Dave, it's been an awesome day. We'll be back out to bring you guys the next review in a month or two, but in the meantime, thanks for watching. Give this video a like and a share, and we'll see you next time.